All right, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Show Choir Nation, the flagship podcast of the Homeroom Show Choir Network. I'm your host, William. Alongside me is my co host, Ethan, and we are flying solo tonight. It is almost the end of the season.
Yes, it is. You're like, should we ask another person? And I was like, no. I was like, I don't want anyone to have the burden hopping on for an episode of this. No more. It's kind of nice going back to our roots. I feel like we've had a guest on almost every single week.
This week, I believe, or this year, excuse me, I believe we have.
Which is incredible. So I just shout out to every single one of our contributors, and then some who have come on this podcast and given us so much insight to all different areas of the country, show choir, the whole shebang. Today, this is actually my second podcast I'm doing today, so I'm getting a healthy dose of podcasting itch today, let alone week. I feel like I can only do one a week, but I did two in a day. So this is going to be great. Some results at these competitions are very interesting, especially for end of the year. Some that we didn't even see coming, Will.
Absolutely. And with that, we will jump right into the first set of results. The famed show choir finals in the mixed division, taking home fourth place, Grand Island Northwest, 14 karat gold. In third place, Northwest rank in the ambassadors. In second place, Norris Gold. And in first place, vocals, choreo, show design crew, and best soloist, Blue Valley Chamber Singers.
Yeah, so I did see this one going this way, but not entirely. On the show, I said when Blue Valley is clicking, they're one of the best choirs in the country, especially vocally. Like, it is so true. That choir has built such a reputation of just being so good when push comes.
And this is only their fourth year competing,
which is insane. Like, I feel like we've gotten to the point where it's like they're a regular. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost kind of crazy. Because when you look back at it full scope, you put them in a category with Walking Northwest, Gretna East, right? Of new choirs who are just like outstanding. Like, they doing it on their own within a certain time frame this early is incredible. And I love that that's happening in show choir. Like, growth and continued success out the gate only means those programs are going to grow and get better. So huge shout out to Blue Valley, humongous win. They won every caption here. I'm guessing.
I think there were other captions handed out, but the live stream got taken down for copyright like right after it ended. So I'm sure, because I'm pretty sure they awarded band, and if I had to take a guess, I think band probably would have gone to Norris. But I just don't think anyone else has posted captions in the comments. So
and then you have I've told you this a few times, Will. There's a few schools that are just agent of chaos. Like, they somehow find themselves making the most noise when they need to, like at the perfect time. And I think Norris is an agent of chaos type of choir this year. An amazing win earlier in the season. Will, what groups did they beat off the top of your head? 'Cause I know you know them.
Oh boy! Well, they beat Gretna East at Hastings.
That's what that was.
That was the biggest one.
I think that's their only other win, or only win of the year. So
that is their only win of the year. They also had a solid third at the Elkhorn Red Carpet Classic, where they beat Scott. But besides that, they really, like you said, they kind of popped off for a week. Then they kind of stood back. They hadn't competed in over 2 months. Before this competition. So I was honestly, I'll come out and say it, I was expecting Norris to be a little rusty.
I did too. And I guess just leading into my next point, because that's kind of where I was going, was Grand Island Northwest. Kind of in the same boat where they haven't competed in over a month and so on, because I think I had them possibly in second place. I think a lot of people had them winning this competition. Definitely a slide. However, like, we were talking about this when we were previewing this competition, like, this is such a unique competition in the sense of all these choirs do so well in their region, or they, withstand amazing choirs in their region. They go up against the best of the best. So them coming here at this competition and it kind of mixing the way it did, it doesn't surprise me, so to say. However, like I did expect 14 karat gold to be top 2-ish. Now Northwest Rankin was another one a lot of people had on their radar, especially for one of those top 2 spots. An amazing choir, absolute just one of the best around, destroying tier 2 when they do it. And tier 1, they are always battling for those spots. All these choirs have something to be proud of, like an amazing season, especially going to Fame Show Choir National Finals like this late in the year. Like you said, Norris, Grand Island Northwest, taking months off. Blue Valley's been off for a while as well. Northwest Rankin is the freshest out of all these, I would say. And then, shout out to the Alert and the Ambition. A little fun little battle there. I don't think it was a question who was going to come out on top on that one. But shout out to the Allure for taking the win there. And you know what's funny? I said on the show, like, hey, like we haven't had a judging panel for this competition in like 5 years, since like pre-COVID or something. And then they dropped the panel. Shout out Andrew Drinkle, Chris Kendall, Laura Moffat Mindard, and Justin Sassanella.
I'm sorry, how did you just say Menard?
Menard?
No, it's not the way you said it.
Yeah, I did. What did I say? Like, save big money at Menards. Is that how I said it?
No, we can roll the tape afterwards and fight about it.
But shout out to those judges judging this late in the year, especially after like majority of their circuits have been done for a while. And just shout out to Fame. Fame has kind of had, its up and downs, but like I think that this is a very solid competition to put on in 2025 for them.
Yeah, I would argue that this is perhaps on par with or probably better than last year's finals, because last year's finals featured coming into it 3-win Toma group and a 1-win Sparta group, and then Prattville, who competes in small mixed, and Nevada, who is a 3A choir in Missouri. And those are your 4 groups in the mixed division. Here, coming into this, all 4 groups had at least 1 win. Blue Valley had 2 coming in. Northwest Rankin had 2 coming in. And it was generally just a much, much more competitive event. And for an event that, let's face it, has been dropping numbers, like the facts are there, whether it's also moved back 2 more weeks into the season, or I guess out of the season at this point. It's gone from the beginning of April to almost mid-April. And I'm not entirely sure that has helped them all that much, but at least to see an event that on a competitive scale was better than it was last year out of Fame, I think that is, again, a very, very positive sign as well. I do just want to shout out Northwest Rankin. They seem like a really random pick to come here. I feel like not a lot of Southern groups go to Fame or HOA comps that are not in Orlando. I know like occasionally someone will go to HOA Nashville, like maybe Tupelo or like a random New Hope or something like that. But to see Northwest Rankin say, you know what, we're just going to slingshot into a battle with a handful of Midwestern choirs. Almost feels like they were doing the same thing at Brandon Elite a couple of weeks ago, but they're doing it again. And I think that there are perhaps some more glamorous rising programs in the South. A lot of people like to talk about Biloxi as a group that is there and moving into the large mixed division. But I think Northwest Rankin pretty quietly, because the gains have been incremental year over year. But I think that Northwest Rankin is slowly starting to get to the point to challenging a lot of Southern Blue Bloods. I think it's going to be within the next couple of years. We talk about, wow, maybe Northwest Rankin beats Auburn this year. Wow, maybe Northwest Rankin is beating West Jones this year. Maybe, dare I say it, Northwest Rankin starts to touch pedal on a down year. Big talk, and I'm probably going to get skewered for that. Someone is going to clip that and put it on TikTok, and it's going to be off-season bait for about 7 months. But still, the point is, I think Northwest Rankin is a great program that's on the rise, and I was really happy to see them at this Fame Finals. Moving on to the North Carolina State Show Choir Contest. The format of this one, a pretty interesting. High schools on Friday, middle schools and acapellas on Saturday. The results of this one: in 5th place, Triton Showstoppers; in 4th place, South Granville Cordon Blues; In third place, South Granville Shades of Blue. In second place, Voyager Academy Bull City Lights. And in first place, Lake Norman Showformance. Ethan Parker, I asked you a question 1 week ago today. Can anyone beat Voyager? And what was your answer?
I said no question mark because I just
Correct.
don't know, right? I think that's what I said. I was like it's basically theirs to lose, right? I think that's what was my reaction going into it. I'm just going back into history now of the North Carolina States like finals. Like it is actually impressive when you go back to see what this means for Lake Norman, right? Lake Norman has never won the final. Never won the final. They've won their regional, which regionals, we're having regional, like they had regionals back in the day. West, this is the triangle regional for Voyager. I'm pretty sure Voyager, I said Voyager, like they competed in some, what do you call it, open divisions, but I don't think they have lost this competition since 2014. Or that's how far back I go where it says like they have a second place finish. There is some like non-compete things, but they lost to Mitchell Show Choir in 2014, and they got second. And then Wesleyan Christian Academy Faith got third with Best Band, Best Show Design. Where's Best Vocals? 7th place at Northeast Guilford Show Choir. Sorry, there's only one judge. Shout out Andy Beck. This is like just a huge monumental win for Lake Norman. And like until like you go back in history and you look at it, you can truly understand how much this means to this program, right? Like looking at it on the forefront, you're like, oh, these are just some choirs I don't know. Like I know Voyager, and I've heard of South Gainesville, but I was like, all these other ones I don't know, right? Lake Norman, this is huge. Congratulations. I'm glad that I finally know who you are. Like because I don't dabble in North Carolina show choir. I love that it's happening. I love that there's states. There might not be regionals now, but hey, if you have a state competition, that means you're trying, right? And you have the forefront to grow North Carolina show choir in some sense. So huge win for Lake Norman. Voyager, I mean, are they the only one that goes out and compete, or does South Gainesville go out and compete at other places as well?
I believe this year South Granville at some point was on the schedule for, I want to say Manchester. Maybe they weren't. William Huff also competes outside of the state, but they were not at the state finals this year, and I'm not entirely sure why.
Now I get it. It's North Carolina, and I mean, there's not a lot. From what I know, there's not a lot of show choir enthusiasts like on showchoir.com. But
they're about 0, I think.
Okay. You're the showchoir.com guy. I wanted to ask. Unless I'm blind, which was there a best vocals awarded that's listed?
So the information from this one really got parsed from the North Carolina Activities Association Facebook page.
Okay.
And I believe they only like posted who got best choreo. I could try and do a quick Facebook search to see if there's a post about Lake Norman winning with vocals, but it's also possible that they just didn't award a vocal caption.
Yeah. Another quick shout out. I gave it a little bit ago. Andy Beck has been judging this competition like since 2013. Took a little off time in between 2020 2024, COVID, and other stuff probably happened. But like that's just insane. And they only do one group, right? So like just not one group. They only judge one competition. Well, I don't know what I was saying. I'm all over the place. But like just shout out to them for like sticking with this competition and like making it like theirs and trying to grow as well. Another shout out to Ali Albrecht and Amy Dow.
I think the interesting thing about North Carolina is that there is kind of a split right now in between show choir and a cappella. because Friday was the high school show choir portion of the event, and then Saturday was the middle school show choir, and then high school a cappella portion. And at least a few schools who had previously done show choir, such as Overhills, Atkins A&T, a couple of those kinds of schools have transitioned over to being a cappella groups. And certainly my heart lies in show choir, right? Yeah. But ultimately, I can kind of sort of live with if we're seeing fewer groups in the show choir portion of the event, but those students are still getting an opportunity to showcase and compete in the a cappella division. I think that is great as well, just as long as those students are getting those opportunities to compete with schools across the state and kind of forge all of those experiences that we all know come with that kind of thing. So is North Carolina show choir going to grow? I don't know, frankly. I think it's going to depend on kind of this push and pull in between show choir and a cappella. Obviously, I would love it if we went back to having enough choirs to field regionals and we still had a 9-choir states with 3 choirs out of each regional, or this or that or the other thing. But Lake Norman, at least putting one down in the books for states. Like you said, Ethan, after a couple regional wins, this one will be their 3rd overall win in the history books. So good for Lake Norman, an area that I've known about for a long time as a NASCAR fan. Plenty of lake houses of NASCAR drivers out on the beautiful Lake Norman area. I have flown over Lake Norman before on a connecting flight into Charlotte. So at least that night, it looks like a beautiful area. So shout out to Lake Norman show performance, and also shout out to South Granville for hosting and also putting 2/5 of the groups in this competition on stage. So that is no small feat for Jenny Hobgood and the crew over at South Granville. So a big congratulations is in order to them as well. Moving on to our last review of the week and probably our last review of the season. I don't think we're going to do a podcast just for Colorado State's, regrettably. But the Jenks Trochella event 2025 will start in the middle school division. No placement, best opener, best costumes, Broken Arrow, Ernest Childers, Tiger Harmony. No placement, best soloist, best closer, Broken Arrow, Sequoia, Tiger Legacy. 4th place, Broken Arrow, Centennial, Tiger Valor. 3rd place, Broken Arrow, Clarence G. Oliver, Tiger Tempo. 2nd place, best vocals, best soloist, Bixby, Spartan Sensations. 1st place, best choreography, best ballad, People's Choice, Durant, A Pause. There were only 2 groups here from non-Broken Arrow middle schools, and those 2 groups took the top 2 spots at this competition.
That's insane. It's actually insane. Like, it's like, what's the saying? Like, you and what army? Like, and then the army showed up, and then the other 2 people or other 2 individuals still stand out, and they beat the army. It's now, I know this is not the case, but my show choir brain is like, what if they combined all the Broken Arrow choir into one choir? How many people do you think they would put on stage?
So we're talking probably a 6x6 riser setup with boxes and screens, set pieces, props. What other bells and whistles can you put on a show choir show?
Hydraulic riser. I don't know.
Hydraulic riser. Yep. Have seen a couple groups do those this year.
Yep.
But I would say, yeah, you're probably putting 200 kids on stage.
Wow. Crazy number. Like, do you know that if they are feeders, Durant and Bixby might be?
So Durant feeds into Durant, and Sound Etc. was 2nd place in prep on Saturday. Okay. And Bixby currently does not feed into anything. Allegedly, their high school is going to start a show choir next season.
Oh.
Allegedly, obviously, still a lot of time for things to change. I hope it comes to fruition. The interesting thing about Bixby is that Spartan Sensations is a 1st-year choir led by Jace Caldwell, who was previously a director at Broken Arrow Sequoia Middle School. So Broken Arrow Sequoia, who did not place but did take 2 captions. Ethan Matlock, the director there now, Jace Caldwell, the director there the last few years, took a job at a different school and said, hey, we're going to do show choir now. So obviously they're a great outfit, 2nd place out of 8 in the middle school division. And again, currently they do not feed into anybody, but the possibility is always there and perhaps likely so for them to feed into a program very soon.
Yeah. Just something that sticks out in my head is like best closer had a no placement, best opener had a no placement. However, if you have the best ballad,
You win.
you win. So shout out to Kevin Durant, applause. So huge for them. Huge for them. Best choreography as well. People's choice. You gotta throw that in there. Best and then Bigsby was best vocals, so you know it had to be tight. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of funny. You look at best ballad and you look at best vocals and they go hand to hand, right? However, you know, you got a scene throughout a whole show. And if you move right, and you can sing it well, you know, you'll probably get that best vocals or caption. So shout out to Bigsby for snagging that from Durant.
Absolutely. Let's move to the high school portion of the event on Saturday. I will start with the prep division since both groups in the women's division made finals. In fourth place, Guyman Tiger Tonality. In third place, Mustang Backstage Broncos. In second place, Durant Sound Etc. And in first place, with best costumes and a best soloist award, El Dorado Springs Sound Collage. This division, super interesting. You have Guyman from the Panhandle of Oklahoma. You have Mustang from the Oklahoma City metro area. You have Durant, who is from far southern Oklahoma, and I believe actually is probably closer to all of the Dallas competitions than they are to this Jenks competition. And then you also have El Dorado Springs coming in from Missouri. I mean, just a lot of different stories to tell here. I personally picked Mustang to win this division. I was off by a pretty wide margin, although allegedly Mustang did 8 songs and they had 2 all guys numbers and 2 all girls numbers. So we might have to start calling them the Brandon Backstage Broncos.
Maybe. First off, Backstage Broncos is one of the best names in the game. You know, you especially being called Mustang, you just gotta throw some love out there just to Mustang Backstage Broncos because you know you don't get to very often in a season. So gotta give them love. Yeah, I think I had them in second as well. I did not see Durant making a jump like this. However, I mean, after the results of the middle school, it kind of makes sense, you know, how it transpires this way a little bit, right? Clearly they have a really good feeder program that goes into their prep, which is their actual choir. But right, yeah, this is their actual choir.
Yes,
varsity, I mean. But you know, El Dorado Springs holding it down. This was the choir that I think you didn't have winning, but I think I had winning. So they held it down. You know, best costumes, best bass solos means you win. Shout out Mario. Got to give you some love, Mario. Congrats. I don't know if you'll ever see this, Mario, but just know you just got some love on Show Choir Nation. Yeah, like besides Backstage Broncos not getting second place, this is pretty much how I saw it going. So big shout out to again Kevin Durant Sounds Inc. for getting the second place here.
it's been a basketball heavy day in between the LeBron meme on the meme Instagram post, and now we've got Kevin Durant, applause, and Sound Etc. going
Yeah.
on. So.
I love
It's almost playoffs time.
No, it is. Okay. Sidetrack. Sorry to anyone who's here for Show Choir. NBA is so stupid in the way that they had their NBA finals like to get into the playoff during Masters Sunday. It was the worst thing ever. Clippers Warriors go to overtime with a spot in the playoffs on the line. You know, my phone's blowing up. Oh, it's OT. But I want to see Rory drive on 18. I don't give a crap about Draymond.
Well, Rory almost fumbled the bag.
Oh, dude, don't even get me started. Like, a part of me was like, Rory always fumbles. It'd be crazy to see him fumble again. But, like, you know he's wanted this so bad. And it's like, don't miss it. And he did. But then it was like the next time he was like, okay, guy, like, let's lock in here, Rory. Let's lock in here. Shout out Rory McIlroy if you never see this. So, because you won't. But shout out Rory.
Final results of this show choir competition that we allegedly are here to talk about. Mm-hmm. In fourth place, Edmond Santa Fe Serenade. In third place, El Dorado Springs Sound Collage. In second place with Best Ballad, Best Soloist, and People's Choice, Broken Arrow Tiger Mystique. And in first place, best vocals, best choreography, best band, best opener, and best closer, Broken Arrow, Tiger Rhythm. Let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. Everyone was expecting a Broken Arrow 1-2 coming into this, and they stayed very, very true to form, strong close to the season for the entire program.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is just a program that is just one of the best in the country. And I mean, when you have 26 middle schools feeding into you, you're bound to get a good bunch, right? But the thing is though is it's not just one bunch, it's every single year. I mean, they just turn out talent, turn out amazing shows. It's just so funny because they're in a region where they have to go to people. Not a lot of people go to them. They have to go. Didn't they go to Minnesota earlier this year? Totino Grace.
Correct.
Okay, what a poll by me. My brain is so filled with random show choir stuff. So that's an insane poll by me. Mystique's, huge shout out to them. A lot of people said, "Hey, yeah, you should get second here," but it doesn't mean anything until you do it, right? So they did it. Big shout out to Audra Williams. I believe she's won multiple Best Treble Soloists. I've not seen Tiger Mystique's show. I bet it's super good because I mean it always is. But
I believe they're doing a Queen of Hearts show this year.
Ooh, that's interesting.
And I believe I'm right on that because I was totally wrong on what Tiger Rhythm's show was a few weeks ago. But I believe, I'm pretty sure that they're doing a Queen of Hearts show this year.
You said the Broken Arrow theme for Tiger Rhythm, and I was like, okay. And then I go and I click on their page. I'm like, okay, it kind of looks like that. Like they kind of look like Samurais a little bit. And then I go and I watch the show, and I'm like, this is nothing like what you said.
It was not what I said it was.
But it took me like 3 numbers to like be like, yeah, Will was completely wrong. Because like in the beginning, I'm like, I mean, they tell a really good story, but like as it plays out, you don't want to. It could be anything. But they do an amazing storytelling.
Wait, you're telling me they didn't just do "It's My Life" and "Wings" and "You Will Be Found" and
yeah. And "I'm Still Standing." Yeah. They didn't do any of those. But I just want to give a huge shout out because them visually is just like, oh my, choirs do it, but Broken Arrow does it different. Like blocking when they, I don't know how to, like visually, like when they are on stage, it's always so pleasing. And they might not be doing the most crazy moves out of the wazoo, like some choirs, you're like, oh my gosh, like how do they do like all those moves at once? But like the precision of their moves and how they are blocked on stage is just completely different from almost every single choir. I feel like Lynn Marr is kind of that way. But again, that is Lexi Robinson again. The work that like Braxton Carr does with this group is amazing stuff. Cause I saw them live last year at Wheaton during their toy box show. And I was like, I was just amazed the whole time. Like there was nothing on stage that I was like, that's a down moment visually. Like the whole time I was like, what are they going to do next? What different look are they going to give me? And they did it every single time. It was something new every single time, whether it be a ripple or whatever. They are just so good. Tiger Mystique and Broken Arrow. It goes for both groups. I do want to give a shout out to El Dorado Springs. I think I had them in third coming into this competition. Them being able to step up in tier 2 and finish the job in tier 1, because Edmond Santa Fe, hot on their tails, right? Clearly wanting that third spot. Because going into this, like everyone said, like everyone thought it was going to be Broken Arrow. So big shout out to El Dorado Springs for coming in clutch. Another shout out to Mario. I bet your solo carried. I'm kidding. And of course, costume team, because as William thinks, like Broken Arrow's costumes are amazing. Like they can tell a whole story. You can tell the whole story based off their costumes. So huge shout out to the costume moms and the directors at El Dorado Springs.
Yes, for sure. Obviously, lots of good Broken Arrow things to say. I think you said most of them. One other choir that I want to shout out is Edmond Santa Fe Serenade. I'm not entirely sure why they didn't bring their mixed group finale here as well. I think that group would have been a threat to make finals as well. But at least for the Edmond Santa Fe program, obviously Oklahoma results are notoriously hard to get a hold of. But at least for what I could find, this is the best results for them of any kind since 2019. Even though that's probably not true, it's just good to look back and say, all right, especially brushing up against some bigger names in the show choir world as well. So, Ethan, you have a whiteboard. You have a whiteboard behind you. And what does that whiteboard say?
Homie Awards next. They should say our next, but I didn't have enough time. I was rushing. And it's not really, if you can read that, I don't know. I bet you could read Homie, and that's kind of what you went off of. So shout out to you, Will. Good reading. Yes, Homie Awards are next. I can't believe we're at this time of the year, Will. It is like I put the meme out there like, how did the season go faster than Katy Perry's Flight to Space? Like, but it does feel that way.
Is she back? Do we know?
She was up for maybe 11 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Like this morning, I think. And that's why.
Like it happened this morning?
Yeah, like she went up and then she was up there for 11 minutes and came straight back down.
Oh, wow. I thought that it was the way people were acting about it. I thought that it was actually going to be serious.
Everyone did. Everyone thought Katy Perry was going to be like in space floating around, singing or whatever. Singing Roar. No, that's Miley Cyrus. No, that is Katy Perry.
That is Katy Perry. Another great, wonderful show choir hit.
Okay.
To be paired with her other great show choir hit, Rise.
Rise. Or what's the other one? Oh, see me cry. Is that it?
Yeah, that one.
We did that, I think, my freshman year's fall show. That was great. That was a great ballad. Because at the end of that ballad, you just start screaming. Everyone does. It's just loud. It's not good. It's just loud.
It just fortissimo. Yeah, who cares?
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, William, if you're down for it, we can tease some of the nominees and awards. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. I mean, what is the timeline on Homie Award voting?
Homie Award voting, I have no clue. I feel like we changed it like 6 times. However, I think it goes for a week. I don't know when we
that's not what I thought was going on.
That's why I'm saying I don't know. I don't remember. So it's like 5 days. I think it's Friday, right? Friday's the last day, maybe.
Yes. So the voting will open tomorrow.
You are correct. It will.
And it will run through Friday.
Yes, it will.
And we will announce the awards.
Sounds good to me.
Next week, Tuesday.
Okay. I'll put that
in a special podcast.
On our special podcast. I'll put that in my calendar that I don't have for Show Choir Nation. Locked up.
You having a calendar for Show Choir Nation? Yeah,
I just have a calendar just for Show Choir Nation. No, I don't. I just show up on Mondays and I do my job, Will. No, I'm kidding.
This is a job to you?
No, it's not a job to me. This is pleasure. Okay, because if you have a job that's for pleasure, then it's not a job at all. So that's what this is.
But some people never work a day in their life.
Exactly. Okay, so Will, correct me if I'm wrong. We have like 50 awards.
Yes, total. Yes.
Total.
The vote count is 39
across the board. So we are not reading off all of them. We do not have the time. So I guess
you can just go to the website tomorrow and do that.
Exactly. So that's when you vote. You look at all the nominees and you vote. However, we will tease some of the biggest ones. I think Will has some cool awards, as he calls them, cool awards, which they are pretty cool. Some of these awards are very unique and different. And I think Will has some on top of his brain. So I'm going to do some of the big ones so we can let some of the big fish, get their licks in before they vote tomorrow. Okay. So we are going to start off with varsity. We're going to start off as you always do. We're going to start off with best show design. Okay, so
that is always the first caption handed out, right?
No, it's not. Is it? I don't know.
No, it's not. No,
it's always choreography. We all know. Band.
Well, actually, the real trick is when they announce the 6th place group in finals, and then they say, "Okay, let's do the best choreography caption."
And it's like, okay, choreography
it-
is going to a fourth place group.
Yeah, and it's a dead giveaway that choreography is going to the next group announced. And then you're like, oh crap. That's
I've been to
happened.
I've been to competitions where like they wait till the very end. I remember like I don't know, this is an example. Like Decatur Elite Energy got like fourth place somewhere, and it was like they got to the very end and they were like, okay, best choreography goes to Decatur Elite Energy, and they're like, no way. Like,
We just got fourth place.
yeah, and then the winner is like, what's gonna happen? Or the last two groups are like, what's gonna happen now? Like, like, okay, we're getting off track, but you get what I'm saying.
Yes. Show design, first caption
design.
announced.
So before we start doing this, I feel like there's a clause we have to say. We are starting a new thing, like starting this year. I think we've been pretty good on it, like past years, because it's our third year doing it. If you win an award the year before, or I don't know the timetable we're doing it, but you can't not be nominated again for the previous year. I think we're doing like a 2-year span or 3-year span.
Maybe I think a 3-year.
Maybe a 3-year span. However, I think we are not touching that in terms of like best soloist awards, as in like schools. Like if you are best soloist from your school, you can win it, again. Cause I think we've both of our best treble soloists have been from John Burroughs, but different people. So that is something to note. Best show design. So for best show design this year, our 4 nominees is a group we just talked about, Broken Arrow Tiger Rhythm. So very excited to see how they can do against these other amazing choirs. Carol Magic, lucky enough to see them this year. They have a nomination. Grenada Visions, another amazing, amazing show. They have a nomination. And of course, would it be a best show design award without a Cali group? No. So you had to throw in Los Alamitos Sound FX with their amazing show design. This is going to be a very interesting category, I think, Will, because honestly, all these shows, like, they mess with your brain a little bit with how in-depth they are.
Yes. I was lucky enough to see 2 of these nominees in person this year. I'm not going to say who in order to preserve the integrity of the voting, but we definitely have 4 very, very deserving shows here. 4 shows that should go on absolutely everyone's need to watch this show as soon as possible list.
No doubt. I am completely with you. Now we're going to the backbone of every single show choir and show choir show, the best band caption. We are going out to Indianapolis, where we have the Zionsville Royal Airs Band. They have a nomination. Sioux City East, the Headliners, they had an amazing year. They have a best band nomination for one of our homie awards. The Classics out of Wheaton Warrenville South. They have Too Much Time on Their Hands. They have a nomination. And then we have Millard West out of Nebraska. They have a nomination. West in the Groove for best band. All these bands kick. And it's kind of funny because there are so many deserving bands of this award. However, or even a nomination. However, these bands stick out the most.
I think it's incredible when you get the numbers like we were able to see for Show Choir Nationals, Zionsville's student band beating several professional bands, and just the caliber. And you could probably match any of these 4 nominees up against professional bands, and the same thing would happen. So just incredible products that are getting put out by these bands.
Everybody loves a group that can move, Will. Everyone loves a group that can get jiggy.
I don't know. You as a Dwight kid, yeah, you can say that. My school, while I was in it, our best choreography caption total outweighed our best vocals caption total. So I guess I have to agree with you.
Best choreography, BC. We have some powerhouses, and one of them is John Burrow Powerhouse. They have a nomination. Another powerhouse, Carmel Ambassadors, who ended their year at Show Choir Nationals with a win over La Salle, who we just mentioned. Then we have another amazing choir, Marysville Swingers Unlimited, as Russell Wilson would say. And then you just have, that one choir that you just can't shake. They're always going to be there. Clinton Attaché can move like no other. They deserve a nomination on here. So those are your 4 choirs up for best choreography: John Burroughs, Carmel, Marysville, and Clinton. Will, any quick thoughts?
All 4 of these groups are at the level of you look at them and they move through time and space in a different manner than mortal human beings.
Perfectly said. Now going to the opposite side. As some say, it might be show choir, but it's show choir. And choir means vocally. These are some of the choirs with the best pipes throughout the country, and especially this season. Out of Iowa, we have Ankeny Visual Adrenaline. Um, Out of Alabama, Homewood the Network is getting a nomination as well. Gretna Revolution is up. They have a bid for best vocals. And of course, one of the best vocal groups of all time historically, Cinder Grove Sound System, had an amazing year. Those are 4 choirs who are up for best vocals this year.
I think if you look at the different shows that these 4 choirs up for best vocals did, Ankeny with an Oregon Trail show, Homewood with a Coachella show, Gretna doing the road less traveled, and Center Grove doing their little Frenchy thing over there or whatnot. I don't even know what the formal title of the show is, but just the diversity, even within these 4 groups, almost makes it impossible to decide. And that's why I'm glad I'm part of the team that runs this and not part of the team that votes on it.
And then the granddaddy of them all, our previous winner of this was Cinder Grove Sound System, so they cannot be nominated again. I know they won undefeated. I know, I hear you, but they can't be nominated again. So this year, for Choir of the Year, we have 4 amazing choirs who, in their regions, have dominated. We have Omaha Westside ATSE. Doran Johnson's last show, they had an amazing, amazing year. Solon Music in Motion. This is a choir that ever so is just growing and keeps getting better and better. Johnson Innovation have one of those magical years that they always seem to have. Like, the train just keeps moving for innovation. And then, of course, we have Linn-Mar 10th Street Edition rounding out the group for Choir of the Year.
I think each of these 4 groups have so many stories behind them. And there's a reason why all 4 of them are nominated, because they are 4 of the best choirs, but also with the best stories in the country. And no matter who you vote for, it will be a vote well spent.
Oh, for sure. Okay, we're going to pick it up a little bit on these next some because there's just so many nominees that we'll run through. So for single gender best show design, Tupelo Synergy, Avon Attraction, Winfield Emerald Elegance, Wheaton Warrenville South Esprit. Single gender best choreography, we have Carmel Accents, Franklin Central High Voltage, Oak Mountain The Muse, Grove City Touch of Class. Those are your 4 nominees for best choreography. Single gender best vocals. This is a very hard caption. I mean, there's so many choirs that deserve this one. Fisher Sound is in the mix. Zionsville, John Burroughs, Sound Sensations, and Douglas S. Freeman, Harmony in Motion. Some amazing, amazing choirs vocally there. But then, of course, the granddaddy of them all, in terms of single gender choirs, we have 4 up for nomination. Ankeny Centennial Vortex. What a powerhouse they are. Millard West, Uptown Funk, Don't Give It To You. Los Alamitos Soundtracks out of California have an amazing year as well. And then Cinder Grove Debtones. That is a crazy mix of choirs. I feel like I just listed our rankings, like, amazing across the board. Any quick thoughts on any of those single gender categories?
Across those 4, those are 16 of the best single gender groups in the country. So I expect several of these categories to be very tight.
Oh, for sure. We're going to keep it single gender for one. This year, we have the pleasure of doing a men's choir of the year. I'm so excited for this award. It's going to be great. I feel like all these deserve it. Quick shout out. If you have a name like Men at Work, I think you have a nomination because we have 2 Men at Works. We have Auburn Men at Work, a nomination for Men's Choir of the Year. John Burroughs Men at Work, they have a nomination. Jinx Airmen, they have a nomination for Men's Choir of the Year. And then rounding out with a Mount Zion group, Mount Zion You've Got Mail. they are up for men's choir of the year. Any thoughts on these 4 men's choirs?
Just each group definitely highlights of the year. Auburn Men at Work performing an exhibition at Show Choir Nationals. Jenks Airmen making single gender finals in Indiana. John Burroughs Men at Work, even though they did lose to Los Al Extreme, still kind of remain the standard bearer out in California. And then Mount Zion, you've got Mill with one of the most legendary combat scenes in show choir history in the ring during their closer and bows.
Prep choir of the year. These are the choirs that are the feeder into their varsity in high school. So these are some of the 4 best in the country. The nominees are Los Alamitos Connection, Gretna Evolution. We're going up to a little bit of Wisconsin, Will. We have the Onalaska Express. They have a nomination. And a name you've heard before, Johnson. Johnston has a nominee, Johnson Synergy for Prep Choir of the Year. Quick thoughts, Will.
Obviously, I am very partial to my Wisconsin groups, but if you look at every single choir in this connection, like Evolution was making finals left, right, and center this year. Synergy, kind of in that same boat, beating a lot of varsity programs in Iowa. So definitely 4 very distinct groups here, but 4 very deserving groups.
And the last one that I'm going to announce, the last Granddaddy one, Choir of the Year, title. We have Tier 2. We hear you guys, Tier 2. Tier 2 is very important into everything show choir is. It is the category, I think, that has the most madness throughout it, no matter what region. Whenever we try to cover it, I'm like, it's different every week. So these are 4 choirs from 4 regions that have absolutely just had a tear in their region and their seasons. For Tier 2, Choir of the Year, Pacifica Encore, almost an undefeated season out west, Bishop Heelan. This is a choir that's made a lot of noise this year. A lot of noise. Roncalli, Royal Rhapsody. They have been a staple of Indianapolis Tier 2 show choir for years. Top dog in Indianapolis. And of course, a choir that is just had an amazing year. Euclid Varsity Chorale. Those are your 4 choirs that have a nominee or nomination for Tier 2 Choir of the Year. Will, any quick thoughts?
All 4 of these groups, overall competition winners this year. Euclid, 3X winner. Roncalli, 2X winner. Heelan, I believe a 3X winner. Pacifica, I believe a 2X, maybe a 1X winner. Mm-hmm. But regardless, these Tier 2 choirs are winning competitions.
Yeah.
They're great. They're phenomenal. Would love to see potentially like Euclid. Can you get the numbers and move up next year? Pacifica, are you going to move up to advanced?
It'd be dangerous.
We would love to see.
Dangerous, Will. It'd be dangerous.
They would be, and that's what I would love to see.
Tier 1 doesn't want to see it. Tier 1 doesn't want to see it.
I think what we should do is that the winner of this award is forced to compete in Tier 1 next year. Because they've been declared
relegation
system. We institute a promotion and relegation system in show choir. A lot of directors will get very, very mad at that. But speaking of directors, we do have a Director of the Year award. This is for a group, and specifically a leader of a group who we looked at throughout the year and thought, you know what, that group, maybe they didn't overachieve, but they certainly did better because of the leadership that was at the top. So the nominees for this one, Ryan Cooper of Troy Buchanan, Jericho Hughes of Ben Davis, Jeff Spencer of Sioux Falls, Washington, and Kevin Spindler of New London. Thoughts, Ethan?
No, I think you touched on it on your slight little opening there. Like, these directors have stepped up big time this year, whether it be their first year, whether it be they've been here for years. I mean, this year they stepped up, especially all of these choirs are in tough scenes. So no matter how big their group is. So just shout out to all 4 of these directors, very deserving.
We had a couple handfuls of new competitions in the show choir world this year, and we are debuting a new category for Best New Competition. The nominees for this one, Oak Mountain, King of the Mountain, South Lake Carroll Showdown, Standing Bear the Summit, and Valley Vista Monsoon Madness.
I have heard all great things about all these competitions, and the fact that they are able to get the poll this early of the talent that they bring on their stage is incredible. I mean, just off the top of my head, like Standing Bear, I remember that was a competition where it was like, oh my goodness, this could like be competition of the year. Same goes with like Valley Vista. They had California groups come down to Arizona this year. And the same goes for all these groups competitions. Just amazing job putting it on. It's super hard to start a competition. So the fact, and especially in 2025, so the fact that they are this good with like the competition they bring in is amazing. I can't wait to see who's on this list for years to come.
Moving to a couple performer-based awards. Our first one is the Best Character Portrayed in a Show award, if I can find it on my sheet here.
All the way to the left.
All the way to the left. All right. So we don't have names for a couple of these people.
So if you have them.
We do or don't?
No, if they do have them, make sure you let us know.
Comment them if you do know the names of these people. So we have the Tin Man from Carol, who we don't know who they are right now. So yeah. And also Zoltar from Jackson Prep, which I did not see that show, but you saw that show, right?
Impressive. I literally thought he was the Zoltar wishing machine, the genie wishing machine.
And then we also have Bigfoot from Neosho Corlears this year, played by Bryce Warren. And we have the Grinch from Lincoln Southwest Resonance, played by Tyler Stover.
I mean, you have to embody the character you want to be, right? And I feel like at least the ones I have seen, they have done that. I've seen 3 on this list. They have done a fantastic job of being the character, whether they be stuck in a box, whether they have to stand on with one pose for 5 numbers, whether they are the center of their whole show. They have done it all. They have moved, they have danced, they have acted, and they have vocals as well. They've had their solos. So like, this is a super hard category. It's one of my favorites that we do. I remember last year was so much fun doing as well, because it's just like, which one is going to win? They all deserve it. And the same goes for here.
One more performer-based category to round out our show tonight. This one, a new category for us this year. We have the Rising Star Award. And the nominees for this one, from Grenada Visions, Kyler Pittman; from Homewood, The Network, Evie Driscoll; from Los Alamitos Sound Effects, Aaron Myers; and from Linmar 10th Street Edition, Eric Lang.
Yeah, so I've been lucky enough to see. Actually, I think I've seen 3 of these in person. I think I saw Aaron Myers, Los Alamitos at Wheaton last year. I believe he was Jonah. This is an insane list. I think these individuals on this Rising Star list, they have I believe that they have the skill and the talent to possibly do something in the future career in the arts. Like, they are that good. Whether it be singing, whether it be dancing, whether it be acting, they do it all. They do it all, and they are all completely different. Like, some of them might say like no words throughout the whole show. Some of them say a lot of words throughout the show. And I love how the directors use them in different aspects, put them around the stage to make the whole group look really good and whole. Like, they make their groups better. And I'm super happy that we can highlight some of these amazing, amazing, amazing talents that we have on our show choir stages.
Absolutely. With that being said, Homie Award voting opens tomorrow. Homeroomshowchoir.com.
Yes,
Go
sir.
vote.
And there's like 35 other awards, 40 awards. So
yes,
there's a lot more nominees out there. So make sure you check the list tomorrow.
For sure. Voting ends on Friday. Share it with your family. Share it with your friends. Get all the support for your favorite choir that you can. Awards show next week, different day. Tuesday. Next week, Tuesday, special show. It will probably run long. This will be a black tie affair. So wear your Sunday best to watch the awards show. We will be Oprah. You get a homie, and you get a homie, and you get a homie. So it's going to be a great time. But if this is the end of your regular show choir season, thank you so much for joining us on Show Choir Nation this year. It has been an absolute pleasure sharing the best stories of the show choir community from Connecticut to California and everywhere in between. Ethan, any final thoughts on this show choir season?
I feel like this was just, I know this is our second year doing it. However, I think this is the best year. I really do think that. I think the engagement from our audience has been a fantastic. The people who come up to us and say, you guys have been doing a fantastic job with what you guys are doing. Like I
Engagement from the audience.
yes, it is. It is. We love you guys so much. We would not do this without you guys. Um, Yeah, and I can't wait for the years to come, Will. This has been a fantastic, fantastic job. And I just want to thank you as being a great host, and your mind and the information that you spew out is fantastic. I couldn't do it without you. Um, yeah, and on to next year, which is not happening yet. Vote for the homies. It's the greatest show of all. Last year was a blast. So vote for the homies.
We will see you next week, but until then, get out there and go vote. See you guys.
Goodbye.